Bear with me here. This is my first time going live, trying to figure this out. Let's see if I can get some extra light over here my way. Actually, see me. I don't know if that helped. No. I mean, can I lower this? That's about as good as I'm gonna get. All right. How do I share my screen? All right, this is not as intuitive as I thought it would be. Let's see. I'm still live in the studio. So you say. Create poll. No, it's not what I want to do. And stream edit. No, it's not what I want to do either. Maybe they don't give you that opportunity. Okay, so it looks like you can't actually share your screen on the regular YouTube. That really sucks. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of my live this morning. Or really, it's after 12, so this afternoon. Alright, let's see how we can make this work. Where. One. Alright, there we go. We can do that. At least you can see me. And I guess we will make use of mother phone. So today I kind of wanted to take a look at the historical view of sundial growers. As they always say, when in doubt, zoom out. Well, let's see if we could take a look at this issue. So, first, let's look at sundial growers. So this is what's on my computer screen now, but I'll show you on the phone. This is just the basic view from Google on what Sundial's doing right now. Looks like we are at 64 cents a share. A little embattled over there. But what I want to look at is really the 1 year. So if we were to take a look at the 1 year, we can see the several dips and rises from this year. But I'm gonna even go back a little bit further. I'm gonna just do the whole 5 year. So Sundial is a relatively new stock, as it's only been listed since 2019. And we'll see if we are looking at that chart, which, follow along, look at it yourself, since apparently I need to download some kind of software to share my screen, that I am not on board with right now. So if we look at just that historical data, we see that in January, well, let's just go all the way back from the beginning. So the first time Sundial came onto the market as Sundial was about August of 2019. And in August, it started off at a whopping $10.45, which is huge compared to where it's at now. After that, on about August 9th, it jumped up to $11.50. Then went down to $7.70 in September of 2019. Then jumped back up to $8.75 and again in September. Then dropped right back down. End of September, it dropped down to $4.11. Then it dropped down and hit another floor again in November on the 1st, $3.19. Had a little tiny spike in November to $3.80. Then it dropped down, found another floor at $1.95. And then kind of had a nice little steady rise from November 2019 into January of 2020, where it hit a high of $3.46. And from there, it found another floor, and that went down to $1.20 in January 31st of 2020. Sorry, I got a baby that has not quite gone to his nap yet, and his TV show ended, so we're gonna have to put something else on for him. That is the perils of being a stay-at-home dad. But you know what? He likes Peppa Pig, so let's see if we could get some Peppa Pig going for him. You want to say hi, Anthony? Hello. There you go. All right, where was I? So yeah, we were dropping down. It was rough. It went down to $1.04 in March of 2020. Then we had this long haul where it dropped to 47 cents in April of 2020, and it kind of stood around there. There was a little bit of a jump in June of 2020, and it kind of teetered for a little bit. Went to about 85 in July of 2020. Then it just entered into this horrible bear market where it dropped down to about 18 cents a share, which is absolutely horrible. And it started rebounding. In December 2020, it jumped up to 66 cents. And then went right back down. And then there was a nice big jump in 2021 where it went to, it looks like, $2.08 in 2021. Then it fell down again. Found the floor at $1.14 in March of 2021. Bounced back up to about $1.50 towards the middle of March. And again, dropped down below $1. It was a little surge that got it above $1 in June of 2021, and then we were just riding this under $1 mark. Kept going, dropped down to about 64 cents in November of 2021, right before it had a nice big jump to 92 cents in mid-November, and then dropped right back down, and it's been basically teetering between there and about, let's say, 50 cents, somewhere around there. Has been where it's just kind of been bouncing around. So, that's the zoom out picture. That really, if in the normal sense of a stock analysis, you'd be like, this stock is horrible. Like, it's coming down from $11 and now it's at $1. Most analysts are saying, this is not a strong stock. But again, that's just looking at the price history. So we're talking about right now, we have a 52-week high of 396 and a 52-week low of 50 cents, which is up from about a month ago, where it was at around 47 cents on its 52-week low. So that's very interesting. I'm still trying to find that. I don't know. It's just not popping up for me when I'm looking at the 52-week high, where it went up to $4 almost. But whatever. What I'm seeing is that was back in 2020, but no problem. We have that here. So now, what were the catalysts? What were the reasons for Sundial to have these little jumps, or what were the catalysts? So now I'm just gonna look at basically the news reports that I've seen that I can access now for the past basically 2-3 years from 2019. So, and I'm trying to not go into some of the rags that are out there that they're definitely reporting on Sundial, but who knows what their real intentions are. Give me a second. Let me get a pillow for this guy because he definitely wants to go to sleep. Shout out to CW Post. It's my college. All right. So when we look at one of the first articles I'm pulling up, it's a Bloomberg article where the headline is Sundial announces 2020 launch of medical cannabis marketplace. This was in December of 2019, and this is just at the point where, let's see, this is when it was already on its way down. It's already tumbled from its IPO or initial offering, where we're talking about $11 and all that. It's been trailing, going back and forth below the $3 mark. But this article is the precipice to the $3, $4 jump that happened in January of 2020. So what was this article saying? It's, talking about an agreement with a subsidiary company, basically trying to expand its brand, and how the new platform is going to be coming available in 2020. You're talking about United Kingdom, some of the hemp growth and things like that they were working on. Um, Nothing really too substantial. This is, it's a Bloomberg article. It's just a quick run through. So I don't know. I don't really see anything. There's a cautionary statement because there's forward-looking information in here, but a lot of warnings and whatnot. But somehow from this, maybe this wasn't the catalyst, but there was a jump after this. So what happened there? Who really knows? But we can move on from there. Next, I have um, after that jump, it went down. It went down. So it peaked in mid-January, and then it dropped down at the end of January to $1.20, and in February it just continued to kind of bounce around between that dollar mark, or $2 mark, really $1.50 mark, and then dropping down to below $1. Um, Market Watch had reported that they saw this 80% loss, 87% loss of its market value as a problem. And they were just chalking it up to an industry thing, saying, Sundial had these huge losses because the cannabis industry was just suffering generally. They put in some statements from Sundial and whatnot, but altogether, it's not a horrible article, despite the huge loss that have just been suffered. But we move on from there, and I am looking now at a February 27th, 2020 article from Reuters, or Reuters, however you want to pronounce that. And their title is Brief ETF. Well, I guess it's just brief and then the title. So ETF Managers Group reports 5.08% passive stake in Sundial growers. So an ETF jumped in and started investing in Sundial, and this is February 18 of 2020. So if we look at our stock price around that time, we're talking about $1.50, $1.35 to $1.50. So they jumped in around that time, and that was interesting. It kind of led to a little bit of a jump. So this could be considered somewhat of a catalyst. There's somebody institutional jumping in. Interesting. So that led to a little tiny baby bump over there. And as we keep moving on, we looked at, there's a March 3rd article from CNN that's talking about the fourth quarter and fiscal full year financial results for 2019. So if we look at that March area, so in March, we had dropped down to 74 cents in the beginning of the month, the beginning of the month we were at $1.33, then it dropped down to 74, and then there was a little spike that brought it back to $1.04 in March of 2020. So if we compare that to the article, that was the end of March where it jumped up. So this March 3rd article was where it was at that $1.30 mark, and then it dropped down and jumped back up again. So not sure whether this was exactly a catalyst or anything like that. Not much information in this article other than them announcing their fourth quarter report. We keep going. We see in May, I think there was another jump around there, but this is another Reuters or Reuters or however you want to pronounce it article, and they're talking about Sundial's announcement of an extension of credit facility waiver agreements. This is saying that the senior lenders for Sundial have amended the terms of waivers and agreements, extending required completion of defined milestones to May of 2020 or May 11th. So this is a May 1 article. And let's look at the price around that May time, May 1st. At May 1st, it was at 64 cents. And then it dropped down to 55 cents May 15th. And then jumped back up May 22nd to 85 cents. So doesn't seem like there was any kind of huge catalyst there with that article. We'll keep going. There's another update on senior lender discussions regarding Sundial on May 12th. Again, Reuters reporting, saying that there's these advanced stages of discussions for a potential sale of some of its bridge farm assets and restructuring of related credit facility. As we saw, it didn't lead to too much of a catalyst. Again, another Reuters report. Sundial enters into an agreement to sell Bridge Farm Group. This is likely what led to them jumping to that 80 cents mark about. So this was May 15th. This was reported, saying basically that they're selling their Bridge Farm Group to a consortia of private investors. That's some of the former management of that bridge farm. And the purchaser was going to assume about $45 million in debt that Sundial had. Sundial at that time had about $115 million in debt. So that could have been a little tiny catalyst there. Who knows what's going on there. Let's see. Now in June 2020, got another Reuters report, and that's a Sundial announcement of successful amendments again with the senior lenders. They were talking about 18 million US convertible notes and the close of the Bridge Farm sale. So this is June. Let's look at the price for June. Of that time, June, we were talking about in the beginning of the month about 82 cents, and then it kind of rose up to almost $1, and then made its way back down into July to less than $1, about 80 cents. Very interesting. So not sure, that didn't seem to be too much of a catalyst there. Back to another Bloomberg article, and this is jumping all the way to December of 2020. And that is something that I noticed whenever we're looking at the historical look back here. It's that Sundial seems to have some nice jumps in the beginning of the year or towards the end of the year. Going into the beginning of the year. So here, Bloomberg is reporting that Sundial is receiving approval for its NASDAQ listing transfer to allow for another additional 180-day compliance period. So basically, this is when Sundial is jumping on to the NASDAQ. There's a little bit of information in here. Nothing too special or nothing that stands out as a particular catalyst, but just being on NASDAQ alone should have been a catalyst. So if we look at that time, this is December 4th, we were at about 66 cents, and this is 2020 again. It dropped down to 51 cents December 11th. Back down to 44 December 18th. Kind of teetered around below 50 cents until January 8th, where it jumped up to 68 cents. Then jumped up, continued to have a nice little steady rise. Went up to 82 cents in the end of January, and then it peaked to $2.08. Looks like in February of 2021, which is pretty interesting. So that's its beginning of the NASDAQ listing transfer. Now we are jumping to mid-December of 2020. I'm not too familiar with this publisher, but it's called Investor Place, investorplace.com, and they are reporting in December 14th, 2020, the bulls of Sundial growers stock are ignoring reality. So there we got some FUD. They talked about the stock has been riding the coattails of the Joe Biden victory, leading to a 175% growth per share on November 2nd. Again, this is 2020 we're talking about. So it looks like November is another, well, like I said, towards the end of the year, beginning of the year, has always been the growth from the history that we're seeing here. But yeah, there was a huge catalyst with the U.S. politics. So we're talking about a Democrat being elected as president. We're talking about this assumption that the Biden administration would be pushing towards some type of legalization here. So there was the MORE Act at that time, which was the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act. This is one of those Democrat-led bills that has a lot of heavy social factors involved in it. Yeah. Who knows? Could have been the biggest catalyst that Sundial had seen, was this idea that U.S. politics was going to lead to some type of legalization. But at that time, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had definitely made his opposition to the MORE Act well known. So we didn't have any type of, well, I'm not sure if there was any type of Republican support, but definitely the mainstream Republicans were not supporting any kind of legalization at this point. So this was just all really speculation based on the U.S. politics and people believing that Democrats were going to legalize, which we know now that Biden is not totally all for that. December 21st, 2020 is another Bloomberg article. Sundial announces completion of financial restructuring and debt-free status. That is interesting. So that could have also been a catalyst here. We're talking about December 21st, 2020. Where were we there? 2020, December. We were down at 37 cents at the end of November, and it jumped up to 66 cents. So that's a pretty significant bump. It did drop right back down to 47 cents, but then it had that steady rise that went into 2021 with the presidential election news. So that may have been more of a catalyst, or it could have been just a joint catalyst saying that, you know, uh, a lot of cannabis companies in the field had heavy debt burdens, and Sundial here was announcing we're completely debt free. The CEOs, everybody else has debt on their books. We don't have any of that. So that's wrapping up 2020 with no debt, which is one of those things why you hear everybody saying that Sundial has great fundamentals, because no debt. That's huge. Uh, they're talking about their cash balance. At that point in time in December 2020, they're saying Sundial has a current unrestricted cash balance of approximately 62 million and outstanding common shares of 840 million. The total facility prepayment in the past week of 71.9 million will result in an annualized reduction in interest costs of 3.6 million and removes all covenants and restrictions on the company's ability to pursue strategic opportunities. That is a huge sea change that everyone should have been taking notice of, and I'm pretty sure that is a huge part of that bump into the beginning of 2021. So, like I said, the whole political environment and thinking that Biden was going to legalize, that to me was a lot of speculation, and I don't think that the stock would have jumped that much based on that alone. I think the whole fact that they got rid of their debt, because if you look at previously, they were struggling there. They were constantly talking about their restructuring and their debt. Um, so who knows? What does that mean? Let's think about that. Next, going into the end of December, Sundial announced that they had a concentrates license agreement with Simply Solventless. So that's another relationship that they started. So I think this was the point where they got rid of their debt, and now they had opportunities to seek other joint ventures and other opportunities to invest in other parties. So that we're talking about Simply Solventless is thrilled to be working with Sundial, trying to provide some, concentrates. They're working diligently to enter into some type of definitive agreement. Sundial expects to scale the distribution of SSC products across the country, with the first products targeted to be in stores the second quarter of 2021. So that also could have been some type of catalyst to that run up in the beginning of 2021. Because again, I don't think those politics they couldn't have done all of that. Then we go. There's another article about a strategic investment published by Bloomberg, and here they're talking about a special purpose vehicle owns 58.9 million of aggregate principal amount of senior secured debt of Zenobis Investments Ltd. Zenobis Global Inc. That's a subsidiary of Zenobis Global Inc. The senior loan bears interest rate of about 14% per annum and has a maturity date of March 31st, 2025. Let's look at this. Just talking about the terms there. Sundial has a current unrestricted cash balance of approximately $51 million following the investment. So they're using their cash. There's approximately 919 million in common shares outstanding at that point. So we're talking about, again, end of December. So more of these relationships are building and budding at that point. And here we go, jumping into more news there. We got a Forbes article from January 11th. It's titled, "With 69.2 million daily shares traded, do not buy Sundial growers." So Forbes spitting some FUD here, January 11th, 2021, telling its followers, don't buy. This is crazy. Don't mess with Sundial. Don't want to deal with them. They're trying to say, we have no idea why it's so heavily traded. This is not a low price buying opportunity. They're talking about how the shares have plunged 93% since the August 2019 IPO and have been trading below $1. There's significant risk. So this is another thing, right? So right now they're just talking about risk of delisting from the NASDAQ come February 7th. This is about the same time as now. This is January 11th. This is January 5th, 2022. This is January 11th, 2021 that this article came out. And they are just basically crapping all over Sundial. Not liking it. Sundial's then CEO, Torsten Quenzlan, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name, explained that the first day plunge is a reaction to a scandal at another pot player, Can Trust Holdings. In July 2019, Can Trust fired its CEO. So there's a little blame game going on, but let's look at this. Like now we have this full mirror view of this, and we can see. So January 11th, let's look at the price around then. We're talking about 2021, January 11th. We were at between 68 cents and 71 cents. So at this point, Forbes is telling you, don't buy. You're crazy if you're going to buy this. Where, if we look at the historical reality, it jumped up to $2.08 that February. So should we be following Forbes' recommendation on this stock? Not in this instance. It's telling you don't buy where you could have doubled your money easily within a month if you would have bought at that time of that article. Very interesting. Was that a catalyst? Who knows? Moving on, I have an article in towards the end of January, right before that bump. Again, more FUD. This one is from NASDAQ.com, and it's titled, "Sundial Growers Wants Your Funding Now, but Don't Do It." So where were we? January 21st of 2021. January 21st. I have January 22nd, 65 cents. 2021. So if you were listening to this article and you sold out or you chose not to buy because of this article, you missed out on a huge jump to $2.08. That huge jump. So should we be listening to the FUD? That is the question. Looking at that, let's see what they were talking about here. They're saying Sundial's not doing well. Um, they're talking about how, from its IPO, it plunged from $11. What's troubling? Let's see. They reported that the company's financial statements show that it has a 65.7 million CAD of impaired assets in 2020. In 2019, it had 162,000 CAD worth. Impaired assets are those whose anticipated future cash flows are lower than their current carrying value. See, I think that's interesting that it reported it that way, because I think it's ignoring that it doesn't have the debt anymore, which is interesting. So, people look at what they want to see. They don't necessarily look at the full picture. As far as dilution or delusion, Sundial issued 150 million of common shares on December 14th and currently has a market capitalization of 740 million. The company began with 100 million shares in 2019, and now there are more than a billion shares outstanding. That's 10 times more shares, which explains that huge price plunge, right? Compliance issues. The NASDAQ isn't in the... So this is more fun about the delisting. So they don't want dirt cheap stocks on the NASDAQ. So they're talking about we need them to be at least $1 to maintain their position in NASDAQ. So based on that, they're saying forget it, don't invest in it. And this was very, very bad news because, again, it more than doubled in price within less than a month. So who knows? Here we have an explanation for that. This is February 11th, 2021. Let's look at the price for that. February 11th, 2021. That is where it hit that peak of $2.08. So February 12th, 2021, it hit $2.08. And this is talking about... So Sundial is considered a meme stock, I think, especially at this point. Here, the headline from Reuters is Reddit rally in cannabis stocks stubbed out. So shares of red hot cannabis firms plunged more than 1/3 on Thursday. So this was they're talking about this short-lived squeeze of short sellers by retail investors. Basically meme news with the expected push for decriminalization by the Democrats. Again, a lot of people chalk up that jump to that. That's that belief. But they're talking about other stocks that plunged more than 1/3, but somehow this is when Sundial is peaking, which is interesting as well. So it doesn't seem to be following that normal trend that everything else is going on. They have a, I guess, quote from Kamala Harris from the presidential campaign talking about decriminalization at the federal level. But basically, this is when we're realizing that legalization or decriminalization is probably not going to happen right away. to say the least there. Even though we had the Democrats elected and they were the ones that were allegedly for legalization, as we know historically, that did not happen. This administration has not been marijuana positive at all. And we can move on from there into June 4th of 2021. Here is this, they're actually calling it a meme stock zone. The NASDAQ.com is reporting the meme stock update for the ever growing Reddit buzz. So let's look again. We're talking about June 4th. June 4th of 2021. So we had dipped down from that $2.08 to about $1.14 in March. Then we had a nice little bump back up to $1.50. Then it kind of teetered down and down below $1. And going into June 4th, it jumped back up to $1.09. So June 4th, what are they talking about here? They're talking about, historical instances of speculative mania. Traders brought securities that are on the rise because of the price was on the rise, and these traders were counting on their ability to sell those shares at a significantly higher price. They're talking about AMC, BlackBerry, Nokia, and Sundial. Sundial, they're saying, has more than doubled in its value this year, but this is primarily due to the hype from Wall Street bets causing Sundial to become a meme stock. So I think this is where they're officially naming Sundial as this meme stock. They have a nice little explanation of how meme stocks work. Again, this is NASDAQ.com from an article on June 4th of 21. They're saying, in the first phase of becoming a meme stock, a handful of traders, investors need to believe that a particular stock is undervalued and begin to buy that stock in large quantities. This causes the stock price to slowly begin to increase. Once phase one is completed, the traders, investors who are paying close attention to the market begin to notice the significant increase in trading volume on the stock, and this causes more and more individuals to begin buying the stock, causing the stock price to skyrocket. So by the time we reach FOMO, which is fear of missing out phase, the word about the stock is spread like wildfire across social media and online forums. And then that's what leads to these meme stocks popping off. So says NASDAQ.com. Who's this written by? Kay Schaefer. His full name? I don't know. No, it's just Kay Schaefer here on NASDAQ.com. So, interesting take. Next, we have September 4th, 2021 article entitled, Sorry Robinhood, Sundial Growers Stock Below $1 Since June 16th. So this is, they're starting to rag on these meme stock investors and saying, y'all lost. Sundial dropped. And they're talking about they don't understand why they find a lot of FUD here. They don't understand why the stock is so appealing. Short interest has increased, which could send the stock up if they can force short sellers to buy the stock and repay their loan. But Sundial has traded below NASDAQ's minimum required price of $1 for much of its more than 2 years as a public company, and revenues are plunging. So they're talking about their revenues and how it's not doing well. Again, mention the history from back in 2019, its IPO and its plunge, so on, so more. They're talking about dismal performance, saying in the first quarter of 2021, revenue dropped 29% to 7.8 million. Sundial's loss was a whopping 106 million, which included the impact of the share price volatility on accounting valuation of derivative warrants. So even though at that time there was a big jump in the stock price, they're talking about how they were reporting huge losses. They're also talking about Sundial's cash burn rate increasing, um, but Sundial was able to raise money. Um, Again, they're talking about possible NASDAQ delisting. Listen up, you gambling freaks. Margin requirements are going up 2,500% tomorrow at 10 a.m. This was Wall Street's bet. Wall Street bets. Uh, on September 2nd, a commenter expected massive short covering. That was a quote from them. What happened then? This is September 2021, the beginning. Let's look at the price around there. And this was this steady drop. And we have September 3rd, we're at 78 cents. And it continues its steady little drop into the end of October. So yeah, Forbes definitely crapping on Sundial right there. And this time it seemed to stick. Last time it more than doubled in price after Forbes wrote an article crapping on Sundial. This time it still had a steady drop after that. Then we're looking at another article on September 4th. And again, this is more FUD and saying Sundial growers could be 79 days from NASDAQ delisting. So this is not the first time that we're hearing about. Well, I mean, I guess this is recent. This is only a couple months ago. Talking crap about Sundial in that September. So September, not a great month for Sundial in 2021. Then we got Bloomberg announcing that Sundial Growers was to acquire Alcanna Inc., which Alcanna is that liquor distributor, one of the largest in Canada. And let's see if there's something that's going on. So there's a court-approved plan of arrangement under Canada law. Non-solicitation covenants. All directors and executive officers who own common shares, as well as certain other shareholders collectively holding approximately 12% of Alcanna shares, have entered into a voting support agreement with Sundial. So that's why these recommendations are coming out from Alcanna saying we want we want the body to vote yes on this. The board of directors unanimously approved this. So this is just positive news. Again, they have that forward-looking warning on here. Yeah, Cormac Securities Inc. Is acting as the financial advisor, and Clark Wilson LLP is acting as legal counsel to the Special Committee of Alcana, and Bennett Jones LLP is acting as legal counsel to Alcana. So, board approval, big news. What did that do? This is, again, let's look at the date on this. We're talking October 7th. So, October 7th, where were we? 2021. That was a jump up to 68 cents a share. So we were teetering just below that, or just before that. Mid-September, we had 73, dropped down 67 the 1st of October, went up to 68 October 8th, and then kind of teetered and dropped back down. Until it was November 5th, there was some kind of catalyst that brought us on to November 12th, 92 cents a share. So let's look what was going on there. So that Alcana could have been a nice catalyst to bring that share price up. So it's interesting. So this is reported October 7th, but we don't see that share price jump until November 12th. So it's kind of like a month following the news, we're getting some movement there. Interesting. Next, what do we got going on? November 8th, short squeezes are pushing these stocks to the moon. And this is Markets Now report from CNN Business from Paul R. LaMonica, CNN Business. And they're saying that the individual investor army on Reddit that helped push GameStop and AMC to unprecedented heights earlier this year has found some more companies to rally around. Let's see. I'm guessing Sundial is one of those. All of these stocks, including Sundial, have been targets of these so-called short sellers. Anything else about Sundial that might be relevant? No, it's just really a brief mention here. So nothing too special that would have served as a catalyst. But positive news in that November, which is, again, about a month before that jump. Because where were we on that jump? November 12th. Interesting. Next, we have the announcement, and this is after that jump, November 30th. We have the share buyback program as a nice surprise. So their advert or NASDAQ.com is talking about Sundial again, talking about this is one of the cheapest legal marijuana plays today. This is back in November, end of November of 2021. And they are talking about an uncommon program where stock share buybacks are something you see often with large capitalization companies and typically considered a good sign. Usually don't see small businesses doing this, but they're saying Sundial doesn't follow that beaten path, and they're doing it. They also make mention of their third quarter financial data with an impressive adjusted EBITDA of $10.5 million for the quarter. So this is some positive news again. Let's see what happened around that time. So we jumped to 92 cents in the beginning of November. But despite this news, it wasn't really much of any kind of a jump. We're talking about from November 26th, we were at 65 cents, dropping down from that 90 cents range, almost $1, and went down to 56 cents, back up to 59 cents into December. So, interesting. Buyback program right now hasn't exactly done much, but this is that month before period. So we're right now we're January 2022. So maybe this is going to have an impact around now. Who knows? So next, I have a December 8 article from 2021 where Sundial Growers is reiterating their commitment to the Alcana. And then we have a December 31st article talking about the 5 best meme stock to buy in December 2021. And they list Robinhood, which is on the New York Stock Exchange under stock symbol HOOD, talking about a positive outlook. They also talk about Clover Health, also on the New York Stock Exchange as CLOV. They talk about Backett, or BAKKT, which is on the New York Stock Exchange as BKKT. These are just meme stocks that they're naming. I don't know anything about some of these, so who knows. Nokia, which is also on the New York Stock Exchange as NOK. And then they have Sundial Growers, which they say is on the New York Stock Exchange as Sundial, which I'm pretty sure Sundial is not on the New York Stock Exchange. It's on NASDAQ. So who knows whether economywatch.com is something you really want to be paying attention to. But still positive news. And where are we now? We are at 64 cents still today. So who knows? Maybe these little news things are going to do nothing. Maybe it's going to lead to a bump. That last article, we were talking about a couple days ago. So what effect is that really going to have? We'll look at some more of these fundamentals on Sundial Growers. Their reported revenue in September 2021, 14.37 million, up almost 12%. Net income, 11.31 million, up 115%. A little bit, 116% really, 115.84. Their diluted EPS 0.01, which is up 101.89%, almost 102%. And the net profit margin 78.73%, up 114.19%. That seems to be all positive. Earnings calls, the Q3 2021 beat 39,000% with a revenue miss of 13%. I don't know, people. I guess trust no one. Do your research. Try to figure some of this stuff out, because there's some interesting things going on here. And who knows what the future holds. Again, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not your lawyer. Most of the time I don't, have the full grasp on this. I've been investing in this for a little while, but relatively new, just like my crypto and all that. So there's a lot of work out there that could be done here, or that needs to be done here, and who knows? As expected, there's not much of anybody watching, but if anybody has any questions or thoughts and they want to put a comment in or hit the chat, I'm open to that. But not a financial advisor, not a legal advisor. Seek professional advice, do your due diligence, all of that noise. Like the video, please. My predictions. What are my predictions? I think, so if we look just all of this information that we just talked about in retrospect, right? January, February, or even November into January, February seems to be the time that this stock jumps. So we're in there somewhere. Does that mean that it already jumped? Did it already hit the mark and we're not going to see anything further? Possibly. The biggest jump off of news or speculation that happened in this January, February month, so leading into March. So that was back when the Democrats got elected. We got Tyler Mike. Thank you for putting in a question. He's saying, what are your thoughts on Sundial passing Hexo in share price? I think that will bring Hexo investors in. I would agree. I think I myself, I don't know if you've watched my videos in the past, but I myself bailed out of Hexo and put all my Hexo money into Sundial. I also bailed out of Zine and put all my Zine money, both of those at significant losses, into Sundial. So I would agree with that. I don't know. I think we need some type of a catalyst. I think we need something more than what we have now. Even though I definitely think we're going to jump up above $1, which I believe I haven't looked at Hexo. Let's pull up Hexo and see what the price is at for Hexo right now, which I believe Hexo is below $1. Yeah, Hexo is at 69 cents. So I think that we're definitely going to surpass Hexo. That would definitely be my prediction. Whether that's going to lead to Hexo investors bailing out and going in, that's a whole nother story. Should it? In my humble opinion, yes, because I definitely sold my Hexo. I sold my Hexo over $1 just to get out and jump into Sundial. Again, I did that with Zine. Zine was somewhere around $3.05 when I sold it, and I jumped out and put it into Sundial as well, just because I haven't been seeing great news on Zine or Hexo. I had more faith in Sundial. Wondering what's going on with Hexo. If there's anything in the news about Hexo. They appointed a new board member. They appointed a CFO. Nothing too significant in the news about that. Yeah.